Hello and welcome to Timebomb, the Kylie album Showdown podcast. Check me out, getting it first time. You're all very welcome. Hello again. Nice to see you all. Right, we're getting down to the wire, aren't we? We really are at this point in time.
are.
So we're on the second semi-final. Tonight we're going to decide between Rhythm of Love and Light Years. No, we're not. We're going to decide between Rhythm of Love and Fever. I'm sorry. There's two here. Rhythm of Love. I knew I'd get that wrong. Rhythm of Love and Fever. So you're all very welcome. It is the second last podcast. I'm feeling quite sad about it, actually. I know Kylie might cry, I think.
I know.
Don't be crying. You can cry next week. But yeah, this is the second to last. And again, just before we say any more, thank you to everyone who watched even a single episode. We've had great fun doing it. I genuinely miss it when it's over. But for now, I'm going to fight like a devil tonight for Rhythm of Love. Because I've got Rhythm of Love. Gary has Fever. I was going to say Light Years again. Fever. And Elliot, of course, is here to adjudicate and announce the winner. So hello, boys. How are we?
Hello. We are good. Thank you. That was quite the intro.
It really was.
I'm kind of on fire tonight. I really want Rhythm of Love to win. So I'm a bit fired up.
Raring and ready.
Plus, I've had 2 cups of coffee.
I was going to say, have you had a lot of coffee? You look like
I've had 2 cups of coffee. I'm very tired, but I am in the mood for a fight. So, yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Before we start, though, because I think there's now a new tradition because now the Christmas campaign is elevating this year. We started before the last episode. We talked about the fact that the new album was coming, XMAS was out. What it's looking like as of this moment of record is that Kylie's going to go top 40 in the UK tomorrow at XMAS. That's what the mid-reads are saying. Like, this is big shit. This is big.
Well,
Kylie's going to go top 40.
Yeah, I think it'd be great. I'm slightly worried, though, because she did go from 33 to 35 overnight on Sunday into Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I was a bit like, shit. So I don't know. What do you think drove that? Because I'm just so shocked. We were talking, weren't we? This is just on streams.
It's just on streams on Amazon only.
But I don't understand I don't understand how she dropped out the week before, because we were getting excited that she was at 73. Do you remember? And we were like, oh, she's gone top 100 and then disappeared from the main chart. I'm just being a chart geek here. I don't know what's going on. There's madness going on, but I do hope she stays top 40.
I think the reality is that by the time we get to the final, she'll be back in the top 40 regardless. Even if it doesn't happen tomorrow.
It will with the finals.
With the finals and all that stuff. So yay to Kylie being back in the top 40 in 2025.
How many have you bought this time? Have you bought the whole lot?
No. I told you this. One album. That is it. It's growing.
You're very restrained. I'm very impressed with you. Very restrained. Yeah. I bought one 12-inch of Xmas for my friend, who will probably who now I've just given away what his present is, but he probably would have guessed anyway. So that's 100 points towards the chart from me, and it's lovely, isn't it? You see, how are you pronouncing it, Elliot? Is it Zoetrope? You know that the vinyls when it kind of it makes Kylie dance. You knew that. How do you pronounce it?
It's zoetrope.
Zoetrope. I was saying zoetrope. I was pronouncing it so wrong.
As an animator, I need to know that word because that is like animation history.
Yeah, I knew you'd know. But it's dead cute. And I just thought, you know what? He'll love it anyway. But I kind of wish I wanted one. I kind of want one for myself as well. But I've done my bit, so we can't do any more now. We could just have to wait and see what happens. So
we can just wait. And I think there's one other thing that we have to reference before we go into tossing the coin. If you are watching on video, myself and Alan are freezing and wearing jumpers. And yet again, Elliot, I think he's probably wearing the least amount of clothes that we've seen all year. Elliot, where is your fucking jumper?
I am wearing jogging bottoms.
Delighted.
But to be honest, Manchester's been the warmest it's been in a while. Like today it was 14 degrees. So that was fine. I'm
going to defend Elliot and say, and yesterday was really hot by my standards. So I'm going to defend him and say it has been unseasonably warm.
Just holding on to any slither of wishing it was summer still. But as we're just trailing through into autumn.
You're going to have to let it go in the next couple of weeks.
No, I don't.
I'm not sure I've bragged enough over the course of the podcast that I'm based in Spain, but even I'm cold tonight.
No, you have.
Elliot,
you have.
I have. I've mentioned
We're well aware.
Every episode.
We're well aware.
Elliot, you must be freezing. Put some clothes on.
It helps that I've got this computer that I work on. I've got a drawing tablet next to me. And then, so basically these just output heat regardless. So I've kind of got two radiators in front of me. So just warm.
Just sit on your Mac and save on the heating bill.
I know, exactly.
Is the heat that much that, you're going to be sweaty just flicking the coin tonight? Like, will you be able?
Will it slip? I think I'll be fine. I think I've got my coin ready to go. Right.
Speaking of which, okay.
Who is going to call the coin? That is the question.
I remember calling the last one. So Gary, you go.
Okay, then.
I want to be first, Elliot. I want to be first.
I want to be first.
I want to be first, Elliot.
I want to be first.
Okay. Tails? Okay. It is heads.
Right. You're cheating.
I can show you it. Like,
no, there's no need. There's no need. Well, absolutely.
That is definitely the Queen's head.
Let's go.
Because it's
the
coin.
You.
I'm sorry. Okay, then, Alan. Let's go with Rhythm of Love. Take it away.
Okay, right. I feel like I really know this album inside out now because I've spoke about it so much over the last sort of 6 months. But the reason why I think Rhythm of Love should win, let me just get past, I'm going to put my colours out there and say Rhythm of Love should win. And here's why. We said we'd focus on some promo here. So let me do that first before I do my more philosophical bit. Let me just find my notes, guys. Sorry, 1 second. I was trawling the internet the last couple of days whenever I got a minute. And my God, one thing that I will say, pop stars had to work bloody hard, didn't they, Gary, in the 90s and early 80s compared to today? Because, no internet, blah, blah, blah. With her, I was trawling through, and there's so many TV shows that she did throughout that time. Maybe you're a bit too young to remember Motormouth.
Of course
Gary,
I remember Motormouth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Elliot's looking very flummoxed over there. Motormouth, Ghost Train. Yeah, this was kind of all the shows. But for a fan, it was fantastic. Obviously, did TVAM, Top of the Pops, Pepsi Chart Show, all that stuff.
What was the one with it on a Saturday morning? Going Live.
Going Live. Yeah, she was a regular fixture on there. But they used to have to work hard. They were bouncing around because that's how you did it back then. No wonder she said she was knackered throughout that period. Because I'm not joking. I found maybe 20 shows that she was on, and they were just UK. And then I found shows all over Europe. I found a fantastic Radio 1 interview. She did a 20-minute Radio 1 interview. That's quite rare, especially back then. It was really quite interesting. The promo was great. We had those wonderful 4 singles. But I think what I wanted to say was about how, listening back to those 4 singles today, and if I can compare a little bit to Fever, I think and actually, let me read this quote first. I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. I think this pretty much sums up. This was the moment. What do I have to do? I think, Gary, in particular, was the moment that when she crossed over to the gays, don't you think? Really?
Yeah, probably.
I think really. See, in fact, she says it here. They were talking about how she embraced her gay audience. And she said she might have been the last to know, actually. And she doesn't analyze her relationship with the gays. She just thinks it's wonderful. And she said, but I think they relate to me because of my initial struggle to be accepted as myself, which I think is lovely because that's why we do. At the time, I was a little gay boy, 17, whatever. I was like 15. I was 17. And I remember it was a struggle. But I think that's why we related to her, because anyone who has that struggle, regardless of what it is, and if they acknowledge you as well, which she kind of was doing, then that's when we latch on. And I think that was the moment too. So I just wanted to say that. And she finishes that quote by saying, not to mention my penchant for all things pink and showgirl. So she was laying all those seeds even back then. That was 1990.
Wasn't there some imagery back then in the campaign where she was in like a pink kind of flamingo skirt? Like it was like a frilly skirt. It was all pink. It was one of the images. And it was super camp, but that was before Kylie was proper camp. She was doing it quite cool back then. But I think you're right about what do I have to do, because that was the kind of first video where she got, let's just say, proper uber sexy. We talked about loving, Step Back in Time was 17.5. And actually, she was getting really panned about that time. And, how dare she be like this? And she was like, do no ironing, really skimpy dressed and stuff. Imagine. But she wants it to be herself. Like us.
There's so many parallels with today because, creating a viral moment now, look at Charlie XCX, having a guest in your video, blah, blah, blah. But look, if we talk about what do I have to do, there's 2 things in that video. You don't know if you remember Zane O'Donnell. You probably don't, but he was Kylie's boyfriend during this period of time. She finished with Hutchins. He's fucking gorgeous. Well, he was. I don't know whether he's Steven. I don't know where he is or what he's doing. He appeared on the cover of her follow-up album, Let's Get To It. You can see the side of his face on it. But she got him in there, and I think she was doing this thing where that was what was generating tons of press. Because ironically, Kylie back then, although her career was going into a little bit of a, nosedive, if you will. She was garnering so much press back then because of what she was doing. And the video was talked about more so because not only did she put him in it, and everyone was like, oh, I need to see the video because he's her boyfriend. But then she got her sister, Danny, who was a fledgling pop star too, very fleetingly appears in the video. So if you did that today, it'd be called a viral moment, like Charlie XX bringing Lord in or whatever. Although I don't think she even knew what she was doing then, but she was kind of at the forefront of that. I'm not saying it was purposeful. I don't think it was, but that's what she was doing back then. And that's why I think Rhythm of Love should win tonight, because it's more about the feeling I think it gives everybody, because you can talk about the musicality and you can talk about Fever being 10 million selling and all. You can do all of that. But I think the reason I'm a Kylie Minogue fan is Rhythm of Love. And I think lots of people like me in their 40s and 50s, the reason they're Kylie Minogue fans is Rhythm of Love. It is. Forget what came before. They were laying the foundations. And I can see now how safe she was playing it with Enjoy Yourself, with the videos and everything. So she has said that Rhythm of Love was the time when she really said, I've got to start taking chances here because I've got to be true to myself. So I think really they were the cogs going in the background. And lots of interviews with producers and stuff were saying it was the time when she was really grabbing hold of the reins. But to get back to the music, again, I know I said I wouldn't talk about the singles, but let me ask you a question, Gary. I'm going to ask you a direct question.
Go on.
Which album do you listen to more, Raw or Fever?
You
answer
can't
honestly
ask me
now.
that.
Well,
you
yeah, and you've just answered, but that's your answer.
No, but actually, no, it's not my answer. My answer is actually neither. Neither of them. I love them both.
Nice swerve.
There's elements of them. But if I go back to an early era album, weirdly, I would land on Let's Get To It of the other three PWL albums.
Wow. And have I turned you into a Let's Get To It fan? Because I know before this, I could never get you to listen to it. Never.
I've had moments with it. I've had moments
but I agree.
I
love Let's Get To It. But I love going back and hearing those. I have it here. Where is it now? Is it gone? This is one of the greatest songs of all time. My little Better the Devil You Know single. One of the best singles of all time. It's just fantastic. But I think for me, it's more about, I feel like those first four songs, and I listen to some of the others, Always Find the Time, amazing. It transports me back to then, and that's what music should do, I think. I'm immediately 17 in 1990 again. It's more than romanticism for me. I just love how kind of DIY almost Rhythm of Love feels. It's slightly disjointed, the album. The second half is a little bit woo, but that first half, the way it makes me feel, that I know now that I definitely, and I know you don't want to answer, but when I go flicking through Spotify and I have to choose between an album, I immediately go to What Do I Have to Do in Shocked and those songs, because they're fantastic pop records and they're the very essence of Kylie Minogue. So rather than having Fever, I know it always ends up at the top of every Kylie Minogue top 10, but for once, Elliot, I'm begging you not to do it tonight, because I'd be very upset if Rhythm of, I know I'm really being cheeky tonight, if Rhythm of Love, if Rhythm of Love deserves its flowers after 34 years, 35 years. 35 years. I still listen to songs from 35 years ago. That says to me that those songs, to me anyway, and I think to every other stone cold Kylie fan from that era, will never be able to get away from that album, I think, and what it represents about her for us. I'm not sure what more I can say tonight. There's that one album that just really and truly, it kind of sums up, I think, maybe our gay journey from that point in time. And then the total escapism she was offering us. Nobody was making videos like that.
There's still a level of innocence about it, because it was an awakening, but it wasn't. I think for us who were kind of going on that journey with us, with her, it
wasn't fully matured. I don't think.
No, and it didn't need to be.
No, we didn't. We wouldn't have understood it really at the time. We just wanted that escapism. As fans, that time was amazing too, because God, you had to go home, Elliot, to watch these things. Unless you had a VCR recorder, which thankfully I did have, but not everybody did. And unless you recorded it, you'd never see it again. So you would run home. I mean, I would be like, oh my God. And everyone was like, oh my God, how gay are you? You're going home to watch Kylie Minogue and going live. I'm like, yeah. So I remember just being a super fan then. And unless you had a TV guide, which we weirdly never had, you would sometimes just stumble upon it. The first time you'd know she was going to be on a show would be when it would start at 9 a.m. or 7 p.m. and they'd go, on tonight's show, Kylie Minogue. proceed to wet yourself with excitement. And that was much more fun as a fan. We didn't get instant gratification. We had to go looking for it. And I think maybe that's why it's emblazoned in my memory and my soul. That album of that era, and that year in particular, 90 and 91 are the years, I think, when I really sort of found the kind of music that I was going to love forever. And she is a real part of that. She's imprinted herself in my psyche. So Rhythm of Love for the win.
You're making me emotional, Alan. You lovely, lovely man.
I'm just very high on coffee. But I think Rhythm of Love, honestly, Elias, I don't want to be a horrible bitch, but Rhythm of Love for the win.
Come on.
So I think maybe that's it. I'm going to wrap it up and say, Elliot, it's down to you, but Rhythm of Love for the win.
That was very, very impressive. I really enjoyed that. Thank you, Alan. Thank you.
Come on then, Gary.
So yes, I guess we're on to Gary now and on to Fever.
So we are going to move on to Fever. And I'm going to actually have a moment of reflection and a moment of honesty where I will say that had I have been allocated Rhythm of Love tonight, I would have been saying exactly what Alan was saying.
And
actually, in answer to Alan's question, I would have been saying Rhythm of Love. However, because I don't know if this is a wider thought thing with kind of super fans of Kylie. But for whatever reason, maybe because it was so uber successful, I have looked down a bit on Fever over the years and thought it was too commercialized, it's too this, it's too that, which is going to sound a really weird way for me to start off this sale because there's a reason. She's had an awakening, bitches. I've been in a fever hole for 2 weeks. And out of nowhere, I have developed this weird lost feeling for this album, and not because of what we talked about before, right? But actually, some of the things that happened in that campaign have made me realize why actually this campaign and this album is what I would never have said at the start of this pod, that this album, I would have always said this album shouldn't be in the top 2. I'm now back to the point where I'm going, no, it should be. And here we go. So there's my honesty for you, Alan. I was where you are.
And
I've been down
a been honest because you did a lot of times say to me, I don't go back to Fever that much. So no, you are being honest. Yeah, you are.
The first ever performance of a song from the Fever album was on the tour before the Fever album, because we got Can't Get You Out of My Head as a new track, which we played on the tour beforehand. And I remember being at the show in Cardiff and being like, what the fuck is this song? Never would ever be thought when you heard that song that it would become the song that it became.
I remember you saying that to me, actually. Yeah. You were a bit like, and a lot of people were a bit like, oh, I don't know about this,
Yeah.
But then,
So I've gone back and listened to it a few times over the last few weeks because I remembered from the DVD, it was very much just about her, the bass player, because he basically played the bass live on it. And there was no dancers and there was no production to this. This was before like the concept, the video, the futuristic, any of that. It was just the song in a live format and basically her and the bassist at the front kind of going for it. But when you listen back to it, I remember thinking for years, it actually became a totally different song by the time it released. But it didn't. The core was there. The core was still a really, really good song. And actually then see how over time it just elevated with time. So weirdly, I think what makes this campaign stand out is that obviously she must have known, like even when she was touring the album beforehand, she was probably doing Fever on the road, whatever, making the album. But she knew she had something big. But you'd never do that these days because you'd have to release it straight away. So the fact that we were getting it like probably a year before it even came out was such a weird concept. Anyway, so that was kind of a difference for this campaign, and it was showing a level of confidence that I think she was getting. And then the standard thing happened when the album came out. Obviously, we know about Fever blowing up. She was on every TV show going. She was on Top of Pop. She was on CD UK. She was on Parkinson. She had her own an audience with special. That's the first Christmas 2001 when this came out. She was on we know about the MTV Awards. We know about the Brit Award performance. But it wasn't just about them. She was on the NRJ Music Awards. I think it's Germany. She was like bloody everywhere.
She was in her global straddling era, wasn't she? I mean, she was just everywhere.
She really, really was. And there was some things that I really kind of, again, what I found this real love for this era is when, like, looking at the dates of when things were released. So we had Can't Get You Out of My Head in September. We didn't get the follow-up till January of 2002 because Can't Get You Out of My Head is doing so well. That was In Your Eyes. Then Love at First Sight didn't come till actually June of that year. She'd already started the tour at that point, and Come Into My World came in November. So the single 4 was a year after the first single, a year and some, because it
Yeah.
had obviously just been so massive. And what was happening as well at this time is that things took off in the US. So what I didn't realize, and I can't believe I forgot this, Kylie performed on Saturday Night Live in the US. And guess who introduced her to Can't Get Out of My Head on Saturday Night Live?
Madonna.
No, come on now. Ian McKellen.
Oh, fun.
Okay, Joe.
And
Wow.
he introduced
Yeah.
her on Saturday Night Live, which I just thought was lovely to see.
Yeah.
And that was all before, so that was kind of after Can't Get Out of My Head had taken off in the UK. She'd obviously then put the tour on. That all happened. I remember watching an interview with her kind of saying she was ill for the start of the tour because basically the album and Can't Get Out of My Head had taken off in the US and she'd have to do promo when she should have been preparing for the Fever tour. So that was all Saturday Night Live and all that kind of stuff was happening pre-Fever tour. But because she was so massive at the time, she'd just been on all the promo campaign for the UK and then had to go and do it all again in the US.
Yeah. I would imagine, Gary, that her team must have just thought, oh shit, we've got to, okay, that plan's out the window now because we're number 7 in America. You know what I mean?
Exactly. How the hell are we going to do it? And then something else, so I knew that she did the US before the Fever tour, but in my head, she basically went straight from UK, Europe to Australia, but she didn't. She did UK and Europe on the tour. She went back to America because the album was still doing well. And she did performances like everywhere. She was on Jay Leno. She was on, and she was doing live performances. There was an outdoor gig for Jay Leno. I don't know if you remember him, Elliot, but he was massive. She was on MTV Spring Break Live. She was like all the American kids on Spring Break. Woo!
And
she
TRL,
was like on
do you remember
stage.
TRL, Total Request Live?
She was on TRL.
Yeah.
She was
so
on.
Awful.
It was brilliant. Carson Daly. She was on Regis
Yeah.
and Kelly. She was on them all. And what I loved about it when I watched some of the performances back, and this is kind of going to lead on to where I go to kind of the latter half of the sale, is that she started blending. So in the US, they released a different version of her site. It's the Rough and Jam remix. So there's a slightly different beat to it. I've again, in the last 2 weeks, Alan, I'm back on board.
No, you can't be. It just feels really empty. No, that you can't be. Why mess? It's such a brilliant song. It can't be bettered. Can't be bettered. The album version.
Quiet down myself. Quiet down.
Cuteness.
I love Fever. Cuteness. That's an Irish thing for Be Quiet, Elliot. What she was doing with some of the performers in the US at that time is she was doing the US remix version of it, but then bringing elements of the live version, which was actually quite different, into the US performances as well, because obviously she was mid-tour. And when you watch the performances back now in hindsight, you're seeing kind of the normal standard TV promo playing out, plus the tour influence on it. And I look at it now again with different eyes where I'm like, she must have been like in this crazy headspace of, I'm becoming massive in the US. I'm having to do all this promo, but also I'm still wanting to stay like, true to where I am in the rest of my territory, where I'm a credible touring performing artist. I'm not just going on and lip syncing on TV shows. And the fact she was blending that together. But I think when I started watching that back and seeing her bringing kind of the tour elements into some of the rest shows, I then started going down the hole of what came post the tour. And this was when we were getting to the latter end of 2002, when we were getting to, so Love at First Sight came out and then Come Into My World. Whether she was just kind of, she'd been on a treadmill of promo for like a year and a half at this point, whether she would maybe, I don't know, bored of doing the same things all the way, or she was just in this like, I'm bloody massive, I can do what I want. She threw out the rule. So we'd seen it already with when she did Can't Get Blue Monday Out My Head on the Brits, which we talked about in, I think, round 2. So she kind of had brought that element of bringing a remix version into her live before. But when we got to Come Into My World, she did a version on Top of the Pops and on the Top of the Pops live award show, which was the Fisher Spooner remix, which was totally different to the original. And actually, it was electronic genius. The vocals were different. It was nothing like the actual song. And she went out there and she was top 10 and she performed it with them on stage in a, like she just didn't give a fuck. She was just brilliant at it. And I love the fact that she was promoting a song, but actually so confident in her ability to sell then that her promo campaign was remixes of it.
Yeah.
And then it went even further. So she did the Royal Variety Show at the end of 2002. Ellie, you know what the Royal Variety Show is, right?
Oh,
You
yes.
do
Oh,
watch
yes.
general TV. You know,
It's still
I'm
going,
sure
I think.
Is
it's
it
still,
still
I think,
going? It must be going.
Still,
yeah.
it does go. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
She
Of
went on,
course.
and this is kind of, I guess this is coming towards the end of Fever campaign. The single's been out, she's done the tour, the album's been out, and she had a 7-minute slot where she did like a medley, and she did Love at First Sight, she did In Your Eyes, and she did Can't Get You Out of My Head. Not one of the versions of that song, of them songs, was the single version. So the Love at First Sight was completely new. It wasn't the American version, it was a different version of it. She did In Your Eyes with a snippet of the beat of a track from the album called Give It To Me. That was, and there was like a really distinct tune in the back. That was the undertone to In Your Eyes. And then for Can't Get Out of My Head, right? Whereas, we've seen the performances on the Brits, we've seen when she went all out for it. She did another remix, which is kind of a lesser known remix, which again, I had to go and Google because it stuck in my head then. It was the Soul Wax electronic mix. She did that to close off this medley, but she was still using the same dancers from the tour and the same imagery from the tour. She actually stole some of the choreo from other songs from the tour, which I noticed in one of the songs. Like, I'm quite a geek. I'm sure she's doing the shock choreo with In Your Eyes. Like, it was all still part of the campaign, but it was so different. I know why I didn't appreciate it at the time, and maybe this is my realization in the last few weeks. But I was living in Spain at the time. Back then, again, I was a holiday rep. But the internet wasn't a thing. YouTube wasn't a thing. I didn't have UK TV. I missed all of this campaign. I didn't have UK TV, so I really I feel like there was a blank space in my brain, and I've got a blank space, baby. I'm like, hey. It was in my brain, and in the last two weeks, I filled it, and I filled it with some random shit as well. I found a TV show she did in France. If you've ever seen French TV promo for anyone, it's always really random. It's basically like they have like these panel shows, like Loose Women and stuff. And she's on this program called, I think it was Deuce, or it could be Deuce, I don't know what it's called. And she was doing, I think it was Come Into My World or In Your Eyes, one of them. But basically just got the panel there, and then like no stage around, just a bit of floor next to the round table. Kylie's just there performing with dancers. And it was just like so random, but so amazing.
There's a lot of clips of her from the 80s too. I was watching a Kim Wilde special on the BBC last week too. I mean, back in the 90s, they had some terrible sets, didn't they? Kylie was forced to perform on some terrible stages, bless her.
Yeah.
Whatever they're professional, she'd have a smile on her face. But to go back to what you're saying, I think to be a fan back then, I think maybe that's why we cling on to her so hard, as hard as we do. It was hard bloody work being a fan. Like, you had to go and search. There was no immediate gratification. Now I can go, what's Kylie doing right now? And I could probably find out. It was hard work back then. And it's a real treat now for us, I think, when we discover something we missed,
Yeah.
And maybe, Elliot, you might not necessarily experience that, Elliot, because you've grown up in the age of the internet, right? But it's so great when you go back and yeah, I mean, there's probably a lot you'll be on 10 years' time and go, geez, I missed that. But when you Google now and you go, Kylie Minogue, 1989 and 1990, random shit in YouTube, you get into such a dark, you're in this hole. You're like thinking, how do I get out of this now? I'm in it. And you're watching clip after clip that you think to yourself, why did I not see this? So, yeah, I get what you're saying, Gary. Yeah.
And I think when you do that, like where I've been, really doing the research on this album, like you find some real gems again where not only is she doing the stuff like where, for example, the Royal Bride's performance, I think she did sing live that night or recorded the vocal, but it was about the imagery, it was about the stage presence, and actually about doing random versions of the songs. But then I found another, she was live with Jonathan Ross, and she had the tour band on. She did the exact same version of Love at First Sight from the tour with the live band in a TV studio. And she's such versatility at the time, and she was just showing, that. I go back to like that year and a half, I'm knackered talking about it. Like, she did a world tour, 49 dates on the Fever tour, as well as being forward and backwards to the US to do all the promo out there.
Plus, Kylie actually went from a year of light years promo to all of a sudden, Can't Get Out of My Head is the top 10 worldwide. She must have been knackered, bless her,
Well, she was promoing Can't Get Out of My Head on the light years tour. So, yeah. I mean, literally they had overlapped.
But I think what she was maybe doing, what you're saying, when she got to the tail end of the Fever promo campaign or single 4, I think she was just doing little victory laps and probably experimenting and saying, you know, look, we've done what we did with this album is amazing. We can't do much more. 7 million copies, 4 international hits. I'd say all that experimentation and different versions and everything was her just doing a little victory lap and saying, look at me. Like, I can do other stuff too. Because you're right, it's dead brave. Like, she's still a commercial pop star. So you think, you know, you think maybe she'd probably think, okay, well, let's rein it in here because we want to sell a few more copies. But the album had done exceptionally well.
But I think for me, that really solidifies where I think now on, in hindsight, and I'm being honest that it's hindsight, that campaign is something that really shows where this is a pop star. This is someone who, actually, no, she wasn't a pop star. She was a global superstar. And Elliot, I'm going to do what Alan did. And I'm be like, you cannot, listening and looking at Fever in retrospect. And I love Rhythm of Love. And I never thought I'd be saying this. But fuck me, Fever has got to be in the final. It can't not be. So I'm going to leave my say on there, Elliot. But don't get it wrong. It has to be in the final.
Can I just say,
you, Gary?
No, got your time.
What?
I'm joking. I'm joking.
No.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Always got to throw a spanner.
I've said it all. I've said it all. The coffee's wearing off.
Come on, Elliot.
Come on then, Elliot.
Come on.
Yeah. God. This is another tough one. But they're not as easy as the first round. The first round, you could easily tell the distinction between albums, whereas right now the two of them are both so good that it's another one where you're just having to split hairs for the sake of splitting hairs.
Just say it. You're making me nervous, Elliot.
I'm making myself nervous because it's
a deal.
I think it's gonna go to Fever. God damn it!
As much
as I love Rhythm of Love and the fucking ace cards that she was dealt with that moment. I think that and the way Fever is and the way it was rolled out, I think that you can't really it's very hard to compare the two of them. But then again, it is that thing where we have to also just respect how good Rhythm of Love was and just
totally amazing.
Like, I mean, it's the first time. It's the first time she was like able to like put her fingerprints on a proper record for herself and write parts of it. So that's like and to have that be successful, to then build on those blocks to then go into Fever, I think it's interesting to see. But I think it has to inevitably go to Fever.
Elliot, read the room. He's about to walk out.
No,
I was gonna say he just really quickly replaced himself with a cardboard cutout, and it was just gonna fall. Using his Rubik's cube,
I like this.
Rubik's cube stress, just squeezing it like a stress ball.
They're gonna break it. No, I tell you, I'll be honest. I wanted to just say, Eddie, I know where you're coming from, but for Rhythm of Love, it's just more of a feeling for me. I think that's what I was trying to sell, you know. And I know I appreciate that I was coming up against another amazing Kylie Minogue album. So, look, I admit defeat. I take it on the chin. But I'm so glad Rhythm of Love got to the semi-final. It deserves, okay, it's not getting a full bouquet of flowers. It's only getting, a couple of roses this time. But, well done to Roll for coming in kind of second place, really, no, third place. Or whatever.
Third or fourth.
Yeah, third place.
Roll forever and roll forever. And listen,
roll forever,
exactly.
Roll forever. So well done, Gary.
Thank you. When we started this, I would happily have seen Fever go out in round one. Like, there was times where I would have been like, put Fever up against, I don't know, Let's Get To It, and Let's Get To It should have got in. But genuinely, the last 2 weeks have just been mental, and I just had a renewed sense of love and gratitude
epiphany
for this album. It's an epiphany moment, and it's gratitude. So, Elliot, you made the right choice, and that means now, which is, again, you never could have planned this, 2 albums back to back were in the final. Light Years versus Fever. That was a battle.
These past two episodes have been brutal to go through. These ones have just been like these ones have been the ones where I've been just like in my head going like, I hate this. I hate having to pick between these ones. Can we like throw some more random albums in that I could choose between? That I can go, I'll throw those ones in the bin.
Well, think how we feel, because really you have to dig deep when you get, that was the third time we've discussed Rhythm of Love, and we're going to discuss Fever and Light Years again next week.
So I guess that means that Rhythm of Love winds up in the Time Bomb bin, sadly, and Fever gets to move on to the finale with Light Years. So we bid farewell to Rhythm of Love, but we look ahead towards the finale. We have news about the final episode. We've come to the decision that due to logistics, the live stream concept has been parked. However, we're still doing a final episode, but it's going to be a very special final episode that's going to be full of some interesting twists and turns that we've come up with,
cooked up,
maybe some specially guests that'll pop up as well. But we will save that for the final episode. But I think it's going to be a really nice way to kind of bring this fun, crazy, chaotic podcast to a close in a way.
Yeah. This is when artists say due to unforeseen circumstances, a show has been cancelled. Gary can't make the test work. That's the reality.
Oh, you could.
I mean,
it's just very hard. I can't make it work.
No.
So it's fine. I'll take it on the head. But we're going to do the recorded episode.
We'll be fine.
It's
going to be wonderful.
All I'm going to ask is anybody who, when you are planning, you'll listen to this episode, you'll be planning to listen to the final episode, get yourself a bottle of Kylie, get some tunes on the background, have your own little listening party when you plan to listen. Obviously not even driving a car, but have a bottle of Kylie to go with the final episodes. Because we'll be drinking wine for the final, we've decided.
I'm going to get absolutely legless, I've decided. I haven't had a drink in about 3 months. I don't really drink anymore these days. I'm going to get absolutely gee-eyed, as we'd say in Dublin.
I can't wait to see this.
Absolutely gee-eyed. No, I'm joking, I won't. But I will have a glass of wine or 3, Yeah.
For anybody not from Ireland, gee-eyed means drunk. That's what gee-eyed means in Ireland.
Docious, on the ground, rolling in the dirt, drunk. Yeah, that's what that means.
Like the Adele song.
Yeah. Gee-eyed. I think it's fab because do you remember a gee bag was a real insult for a long time in Dublin as well?
Really?
It's horrible. Yeah. If someone called you a gee bag, they really didn't like you very much. It was like, she is a gee bag. And if those words came out of their mouth, you were like, oh my God, he just called me a gee bag. I'm not going to say what it actually means because it's really rude, isn't it, Gary? I'm not going to tell everyone.
It is really rude. We'll tell you off camera.
You can search for it.
The Irish meaning of the word gay, and then just not what anyone.
Go on Urban Dictionary, it'll solve it for you. But yes, we encourage you to enjoy and celebrate. Yes, we want you to enjoy. We want you to celebrate and be prepared for a wonderful finale. Yes.
Yeah, it's been good tonight. Thank you both of you. Really good. I enjoyed that, even though I lost again. In another universe, Rhythm of Love won this 10 times in another parallel universe that I'm not part of. But no, it's been great. So we'll see you all in a couple of weeks.
Yes, we shall.
See you in the final.
Enjoy, and I'll see you later.